There's a young man. I talked to him. I wish I was with you. That's really weird, Lisa.
Just another movie night.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. We are Just Another Movie Night, and I am Scott, and with me, as always, is my loving, beautiful wife, Joe.
Hi, everybody, but none of that's true. I mean, I am loving. I do love him, but not beautiful.
Oh, Jesus.
We're having technical difficulties.
We're having technical. Here we are doing before and after reviews, where we go see a brand new movie in the movie theater and we give our thoughts before and after. But this time, our movie theater was playing our movie so damn early that we could hardly get there in time and do it before. So here we are trying to make up for that. And you know what? It's probably for the better, because this is one of those films we saw tonight that we didn't know anything about. We had seen one preview, and it randomly just got dumped out today. And I would say that we hardly knew anything about it and saw anything else about it. This is one of those movies that didn't even know it was occurring until we saw a preview for it like a month ago.
Yeah, it crept right up on us. Like, we had no idea.
We're talking about Lisa Frankenstein, written by Diablo Cody and directed by Zelda Williams, Robin Williams' daughter. This is her directorial debut.
Yeah.
Directorial.
You almost said it right. You kind of stuttered a little bit on it.
I slurred it as I was saying it because I overthought it, which is what I usually do when I do names and different, whatever. Just let me go.
I'm letting you go.
Just let me go.
You got it. You're good.
Well, the movie stars, I'm gonna butcher these names. I know it's Catherine Newton, from who played Cassie Lang in the new Ant-Man Quantumania, and also Colby. Is that his name? No, what's his name?
No, his name is Cole Sprouse.
Cole Sprouse. How can I forget?
Oh yeah, how could you forget?
Riverdale plays Jughead, and was in Big Daddy.
He's the little boy in Big Daddy.
Him and his twin brother.
Yeah, he has I think his twin brother's name is Dylan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Cole Sprouse. He's cute.
All right, now look, guys. This is going to be an interesting talk because I don't even know how to discuss this, because let's just talk about the movie theater experience we just had. Well, one, our sound was off.
It was very low.
That some of the speakers were not working properly, so sound was a little off, so it was hard to judge the movie on that because I cannot tell the levels.
Yeah.
So I knew something was up.
This is the second time in a row.
Yeah.
Regal can suck it right now.
Yeah, but even better, we had a couple in this movie theater who decided to come to the movie to sleep, because before the movie even started, before it even played, there was a couple sleeping. Young couple. And now I'm just going to say, we have to point out how this guy fell asleep, because his legs were up in the air. Like, he was sitting like not Indian style, but like he had the one leg up and then the other leg crossed in the air, and he fell asleep like that. That poor bastard is not going to be able to walk out.
You know what? Good. Okay?
Yeah.
Because he's a fucking moron. Going to the movies just to sleep. But I do think they were either drunk or high.
I don't know what was happening here. I kept saying maybe it's cheaper than a hotel. Maybe they just stopped in, paid for the room for the night, and just laid down.
That would suggest that this is Cracktown, USA, and it's crackheads.
Well, here's
Get
why
out.
I brought this all up. Because within the last 40 minutes of this movie, this gentleman started snoring.
Loud.
Now, what do you do? Do you attack? Do you yell really loud? Because the movie's not waking him up. So what do you do? Do you just leave it? Because what if they are cannibals? What if they are some kind of nutcases that just go wild after you wake them up?
I feel like the two of them falling asleep, I mean, they've been through something today, and I think that
That's why I didn't want to make it worse.
you don't want to mess with people like that because they're probably like on some kind of, narcotics or something. They're probably fucked in the head because why would you go to a movie theater just to take a nap?
And I
You
also
can nap at home.
I want to see how much is working here because we also just got a technical error.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, we like that.
I'm also going to point out, I'm just going to go through it, I guess. Also going to point out that they also chose to see this movie as well.
Yep.
So what does that say about them and us that we're all choosing to see this movie in all?
I don't know. I mean,
Because that you don't really want to wake up that guy who is also chose to see this weird friggin' movie. Because there was only 2 other people besides us and that sleeping couple, and that was 2 single guys.
yeah, I thought for sure someone
were-
was going to say something to them. Like,
There was
get up.
2 guys randomly, not together. They were just separated around the theater. So it's either fellow movie reviewers or something else. I don't know, but it's always interesting to see the one single guy show up to sit by himself to watch a weird romantic horror comedy of whatever the hell you would call this movie. So now let's talk about the movie. So like we already said, we didn't know much about going in. We only knew the little setups.
Yeah.
And I guess we could talk about Diablo Cody is a starter here because she is an interesting writer. We haven't had the best success with her as a writer.
I mean, we did like Juno.
Yes.
We liked Tully.
Oh, I really like Tully.
Okay, so
But
she wrote that.
Jennifer's Body.
Jennifer's
is
Body was-
maybe a movie
yeah.
I have to revisit, but when we saw it in the theater, much like this movie, and it might be the same kind of experience for people, I didn't like it. First time seeing Jennifer's Body. Now I've heard it's like very cult and people really enjoy it and has grown on people. I want to know because I haven't watched it again, but maybe it will have that effect on me. But there was something about the dialogue and the weird universe building, and there's a lot of problems with that. And here we are again, where I feel like the same problems flow in. And that's a really good reason to bring it up because it's like that crossbreeding between trying to bring back the nostalgia feelings of the things that she enjoys meets trying to write a comedy. I think the biggest issue is that this movie feels like it desperately wants to do 2 things. 1, it wants to be John Waters, and 2, it wants to be Heathers.
Yes.
And it's not successful at either. I will say that it might be more successful in being John Waters than it is being, Heathers.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure in particular if either is like done well enough. This movie's really odd. I will say that the whole movie kind of felt like the first takes of like setting up a movie and like trying to see how the acting is going to work in the directing. It feels like everything was the first take.
Yeah. It moved pretty quickly, and it doesn't seem like. I mean, I guess because we're dealing with like an odd girl and like an odd character. I guess we don't expect anything more from her in terms of how she reacts to this whole situation.
Oh.
I mean, I feel like anyone would react differently to this situation. I don't care who you are or how odd you are.
That's the reason we brought up John Waters and Heathers because
Yeah.
both movies are the characters like in the John Waters universe, people take things with a grain of salt. Like it's a joke how the world works, his world works, and how he sees people. Same thing with Heathers. They're just like okay with it, but there is an emotional weight that goes through it that makes it work.
Right.
This movie is so odd in how nothing feels like it lands and emotion seems very void from
I see.
anything.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying because, like in Heathers and any John Waters movie, you're completely invited into that world, and you feel as though you're almost comfortable in it.
It helps you suspend that disbelief
Yeah.
because you accept everything so quickly. And I
Right.
think that's good filmmaking is when you accept it so quick.
Right.
And I think with this movie, it was hard to accept because we're just thrown into it and we're not really born in. There's things in this movie that mean nothing.
Yeah. And I got to say that I was thrilled to see that Carla Gugino was in this. She had her moments in the movie, but I also feel like she was very misused. She's a fantastic actress.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she was doing this as like sort of a favor or I don't know, but I just feel like okay. And there are some actors in this, such as the father. He had nothing to do. He was completely emotionless. He had no like. There's nothing for him in this movie.
Yeah. Well, I
You
mean,
know?
Cole Sprouse
And Cole Sprouse, poor Cole
is
Sprouse.
very odd. It's
You
like
know,
I think
it's like
he took this in the sense that he felt like, oh, this is going to be my Edward Scissorhands.
maybe, yeah.
But I just kept feeling like, oh, poor guy. Like in Edward Scissorhands, we feel his emotion. We get him. In this movie, he's like a side thing.
He's just there.
He's just there, and he just flows the movie, and the movie just goes very beat by beat in a weird way. Things just happen. It's so odd that it makes you question: is this movie a dream? Is this movie a something else? Is this person dead? And this is like it's weird. It doesn't actually fit tonally to itself.
Yeah, it really doesn't. It's strange. Like you feel like when you come out of this, like I even had to say something to you after, and I never say anything to you after because I was like, okay, wait, didn't you feel like this is supposed to be some sort of way, but it wasn't? I just felt like I was, I wanted it to go the other way, that it, instead of the way that it actually went. But I feel like the actress that was playing Lisa was having a great time. So I was happy for her.
I enjoyed watching her, but there are parts in the movie where she seems like she did the first take, like as a joke.
Yeah.
Or almost like this is blooper reel stuff that they left in the movie.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple reactions and stuff of hers that's so like out of the movie, and it's like something you would see in the blooper reel at the end credits. There's a couple times in particular I was like, that there's no way. She must have thought that was like just like they're gonna cut and they're not gonna use this take.
Yeah.
Which is so weird.
Okay, well, can I just say something else? It's a sort of a love story, but I don't
understand that at all.
I didn't feel that there was love coming from any single person in this movie.
Not at all.
Like not a love for a father for his daughter, not a mother's love for her daughter, like nothing like that.
Oddly enough, it's a sister.
Yeah, there's
one-
a sister that they kind of like, have a good relationship, but then they
Which-
don't. It's so bizarre.
It's odd. And I knew it was like there's a twist with the sister that I saw coming a mile away. And I just kept going, it doesn't, when it does come, it's not going to fit. It's not going to make sense.
No, and it didn't.
It's going to feel like it's out of nowhere. And
Yeah.
sure as shit, when it comes, it's like, yeah, this does not connect to the story or these
It
characters
doesn't,
at all.
especially from what they showed us in the movie.
Yeah.
Leading up to that point, it was very bizarre that they just threw that in there with the sister. But
The sisters are the most chemistry in the entire film is these two sisters. The actresses playing the sisters are kind of likable together.
yeah, they are. They're cute together.
And it's like unfortunate because they never give them the right payoff endings or anything. Like when it ends, it's so weird. Like there's a scene like you get like it's like they actually like didn't film enough and they were like, oh, you just got to end the movie now. So they used like an animation to bridge an entire sequence because then the next scene it's like what did we miss?
Yeah, I felt like I missed something.
Yeah, it was like we
Yeah.
missed a bunch of stuff. Like what's happening here? That's and it's already night.
Yeah.
And it's odd because you're questioning, well, what happened with the sister from the last scene? And it doesn't come back. It just ends.
No,
Like
this
it's
is like
so friggin' weird and abrupt and kind of
it is.
messy.
It is
But
abrupt.
I can't help but tell you that I do feel like this is going to be one of those John Waters type movies where in a couple years people are going to be like finding it.
You think it's gonna reach cult
I
status?
do.
Okay.
I feel like this is going to, like, look, okay, recently for our other podcast show, Talking Trash, we did a movie that hasn't come out yet, but will come out later, called Barbarella. And we saw how people like hold it dear. And it's always that idea, like this weird cult film kind of like connects with people and you don't really understand it. I think that this movie might be one of those type of movies because I do feel like there is something here.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I
It's
do see what you're saying. But I don't know. I feel like the actress that was playing Lisa was having a really good time with everything. But then in some scenes, she was kind of just, I feel like she was ad-libbing, like just trying to get through
oh yeah,
a
it's like
lot.
they let her loose.
So it was just crazy. But I feel like this movie, there's a lot of, it was just goofy. It was a goofy movie, you know? It
Yeah.
was silly.
The jokes didn't even connect properly.
No.
It is very odd.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'll be very pissed off if I don't mention exactly what I thought was going to happen in this movie that I do not like, and I think it is a trend that I hope dies in the next 10 years. I hope it doesn't become bigger. But this idea that men are the worst fucking people on the earth. Okay, I get it. I get it. We got a female director, a female writer, and an idea where the main character is a female, but not one man in this movie is a good person. And in fact, when they set up a person being a good person, I knew instantly what movie I was going to be in because I said, if they do what I think they're about to do, I know what I'm in for. And I think that is bad writing and lazy fucking writing. And you know that there's that idea right now where people say men shouldn't write women. Well, this is the kind of thing that makes it go, women shouldn't write men. Because every guy, there's not one line of dialogue that a man says in this movie that felt like either a guy or it wasn't a guy being a jerk.
Right.
And I honestly think that's kind of like a appalling writing, but I know what I'm in for, and the movie allowed me to get around that. You know,
Those moments were brief.
There's a
and
lot of them, though.
There are a lot of them, but they were brief. But I understand what you're saying. I too was like, oh, really? So this movie's set in the 80s, and still,
yeah,
I mean, the only real feel of the 80s that you get from this is that, you know, they do play some songs and there's wardrobe, but I didn't feel like these kids that were in high school would behave like this. It's weird. I can't explain it without giving away spoilers.
Oh yeah,
But
it doesn't.
it was just not. It didn't seem.
Yeah, and if they wanted to make an 80s comedy in the line of Heathers or something like that, if they wanted to do something in that realm, in that feel, okay. But again, that writing of how like in the 80s, all movies, they have that one friendly guy or that one friendly character or friends. Then this movie's like, no, none of that. We're not going to have that. It's only going to be this character and this character. And none, like I said, it's a huge clash. There's so many things I want to talk about with this film that are very odd and questionable. Now, I know since Diablo Cody wrote it, there are references to Jennifer's body. I think this is the same town in that movie.
Is it really?
I believe so. I'm not 100% sure since I haven't seen that movie since the theater. But I think this is connecting because this is the past of that movie. I don't know. Maybe there is some kind of crazy references in Jennifer's body that they are connecting with. But there is a weird plot line in this film that something has occurred in the main character's past that you think is going to be a twist. And it never comes back.
There's zero reason to tell us about it.
I mean, it's very strange.
It's this whole movie. The writing is just bizarre. It's just a very bizarrely written movie. I can't, like, you know, we can't get into spoilers, obviously, but
it's tough to talk about.
Tough. It is tough to talk about when you can't spoil something. But I have to say that this movie was very odd. I do like the main girl. I think she's adorable. And I think that she was kind of having fun in this role. And
She seems to be having a blast.
yeah, but
And I like the sister. Although,
the
why does she
sister-
have? She sounds like she has an accent that is like a Minnesotan accent.
oh,
Did
I
you
don't know.
notice it a few times?
No.
Oh, I kept hearing it. I was like, this actress, was she in Fargo once? Because holy
So
crap.
funny. No, I think that we've been watching Fargo.
Yeah,
so
but no, if I'm wrong, she definitely had an accent slip a few times that were really odd.
yeah, I don't recall hearing it, but yeah.
Also, why is she the daughter of Carla Gugino?
yeah.
Why
so
is she also?
it doesn't make any sense.
Why is she also a cheerleader and beauty queen? It is a very odd person to pick for that character. I liked her a lot though, which is really strange. I like the actress. I thought the character was fun too.
Well, okay, I'm gonna say something. I went to school. We went to school a long time ago, but I will say that even though going to school back then was a little rough because, there was a lot of cattiness and a lot of cliques and bullies and stuff. And, I'm sure it's like that today in school too. But everybody had their group, Like, I would hang out with some metalheads or, it's like everybody, like there's art people, then there was like, the divas and, whatever, rich kids. Everybody had their group. I feel like Lisa in this movie didn't have anyone. She didn't have one friend. It was so weird.
So they kind of set it up by saying that she had just moved there not too long ago and that she didn't have time, and that's why the sister was always bringing her with her everywhere.
But then when the opening is they go to a party, it seems like
Nobody really knows her.
even knows her or wants to even talk to her.
She's supposed to be
It's
invisible, and she's supposed to be the weird dark
But
one.
she's so freaking cute.
Yeah,
She's pretty.
I don't believe in a million years that any guy wouldn't automatically want to talk to her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but I not to speak ill of the other actress that played her sister, but I think that this girl who played Lisa was prettier than the other girl. So I feel like she would have gotten more attention.
Well,
Because,
the other girl's pretty.
no, she
without a
was.
doubt.
But she had more flair, Lisa. She had
I agree.
there's something different about her.
She's very unique eyes and everything, and she has a
Yeah.
great smile.
Yeah.
And this is that she's all that, right? Is that the one where the artist and they make her like pretty?
Oh God, yeah, Rachel Lee Cook, who
So
was supposed to be
she's
a
all that.
dork.
Yeah, and
okay.
I think that just another not another teen movie did
Mm-hmm.
it perfectly when they made that joke about like, oh my God, she's covered in paint, she's so disgusting.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the same thing here where they're like, oh no one's gonna notice her because she's got frizzy hair and she doesn't know how to wear makeup
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, no, when she goes to the party, she's adorable, and
She is.
and I was like, yeah, and oh, we should look it up. I haven't looked up any facts or anything, but the guy that she has a crush on in school, what is this mini Brad Pitt guy? I
know, I'm trying to
holy
figure
crap.
out,
I was like, this guy's
something
gonna
on
be
him.
somebody later on, because I'm like, he reminded me exactly of Brad Pitt,
Yeah.
like cutting glass.
His name is Henry Eikenberry, and he's on Euphoria. He plays Derek.
Ah, okay, we haven't watched. Okay, so that makes
Yeah.
sense.
But
All right, so I mean, yeah, this is a very odd film to talk about.
it's hard to talk about it because we can't spoil anything, and to say what we really want to say, we can't do that because we don't want to ruin the movie. But overall, as a film, I was like okay with it. I didn't think it was the greatest. There were some haha moments that were kind of cute. And,
Kind of, yeah.
and I really like the way, I mean, I love the 80s so much. And so, I love the clothes and how she dressed and just the throwbacks to, the Aquanet and, the crimping and all
Yeah.
that stupid,
there's
silly
so many
wardrobe crap. But overall, I didn't get that nostalgia feel. And I feel like a movie set in the 80s should be better at that.
Yeah. Well, do you remember in the 80s when you used the word clutch a lot?
Okay, no, that was not a term that I used.
Is that like a thing? Is that a joke from another movie? Is that like a Mean Girls thing, or I don't know what that is. Like, where
I
did
thought they said
clutch come from?
fetch. Didn't they say fetch?
You're right. That is right. They didn't.
I-
Who uses word clutch?
I don't even know. I don't know
I've
what that
never
even
heard
means.
that word.
I mean, we're elderly, so we won't
But
know
even
the
in the
hip
eight-
jargon.
Well, we should know the jargon from the 80s.
Well, yeah, that's definitely not a word I've heard in the 80s. No.
So I'm saying, I'm
I
like,
know, I
I
did
don't
not hear
remember
that.
clutch.
It was like,
All
you know,
right, but-
totally rad and, you know, tubular and all that stuff. But no, not clutch.
I will be another thing that I need to mention is that the directing for a first time director is pretty damn good.
It actually, it wasn't bad. We definitely can say she did a good job.
Yeah, there's some really clever moments in the movie. There is a part where
Technical difficulties.
we're having one of those nights.
Please stand by.
12 seconds later.
This thing hates me. Yours doesn't do it, mine does.
And I don't
Maybe I
touch
should
mine.
switch it out. I don't even know.
Don't you touch mine.
All right, what was I at? Oh, okay. Now that I have to somehow edit that. Yeah, no, her directing. There was a couple great moments of really stylistic, like really smart uses of camera work. In particular, she takes drugs or something at one time, and the camera work and the effects that they put onto it worked really, really well. I thought that was great. I don't know if you noticed it, but the house cleverly transitions into the graveyard.
Yeah.
And if you look through the windows, it's slowly transitioning into the graveyard throughout the house. So it was a really clever built set. And I love that kind of stuff. So I was actually impressed. I was like, you know what? There's some really clever stuff going on here and some funny little bits. But the movie slowly loses that. I feel like some of the movie was like very stylized and very thought out. And then it kind of just was like, now we're rushing a little bit.
I feel that way too. And I don't know. Overall, I was like, okay, you know, this is a movie I probably could have watched on the couch. But I'm glad we saw it in the theater.
Yeah, we get to see it for
I mean,
free. It
aside
doesn't
from the
matter.
freaking snoring and that jackass, but otherwise, it was a good experience in the theater. But I honestly, I think you're right. It's going to probably reach cult status because it's quite bizarre. And
Yeah.
Diablo Cody has that kind of thing going on for her.
Yeah.
You know, right now, like her last couple movies have reached that status, I think, already. So, but overall, it was like, whatever. It was okay.
I won't be shocked if in another blank amount of years we see this as a musical.
Oh, God.
You know, and that's a big thing to do now. You know, turn these little things into musicals after a few, 10 years or
You're
so.
right. Everything pretty much turns into a musical.
I can see that. Yeah. So, what's your final verdict on this?
Final verdict is this movie was okay. It was a cute concept, and if they were going to do this and set it in the 80s, they should have done a better job with the music and the tone, I think. But overall, it was fine. I mean, I didn't hate it. It was okay. It was just they could have done better. So I'm going to give it a 5.
I'm gonna give it a 5 too, and that's really strange because this movie does have a lot of problems.
It does. It has a lot of problems.
I don't even think the movie necessarily works, but there's something about it that was just quirky in that weird culty way that I kind of liked. It
had its moments. It did.
I had definitely a couple eye rolls a couple times, and I definitely was like, man, these jokes are not landing. But for some reason, I'm still kind of okay with it enough to give it that mediocre pass.
Yeah, because it was just like, all right, this is fine. You know,
Yeah.
like if we sat there and we picked it apart, we would destroy the film. We would destroy it. But I don't think it's talking trash level, and I don't think it's great. So
I feel like it's on that verge of us talking trash and like breaking it down and being funny and laughing and questioning a lot of the ideas and thoughts in the movie. Definitely would have been a good time, but yeah, I think for now it's a good pass. I think that if I revisited it, if we're still doing this show into the future, if I watch this again in 5 years, and I bet I would have a good time laughing about how messy it is.
yeah, it is messy. It is a mess.
But yeah,
it was
pass
whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's a pass. It'll get a pass because there are some cute little things in it overall. But the directing wasn't bad, the acting wasn't bad, so it's fine.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess that's our thoughts. This was the messiest, craziest episode, just like our theater experience.
Yeah, and I wouldn't rush to the theater to see it. You can wait until it's on streaming.
And I should always tell everybody, we have a movie pass. We get to see movies for, the one price. We get basically, the movies are all free when we see them as many times as we do. And that's why we do as many movies as we do. Because it's just so easy and cheap. So why not?
Yeah.
And I for people who don't and they would have to pay full price, no.
No, absolutely not. Just wait. Just wait it out.
People always question like why movies aren't doing better, and you're like, when you're paying close to $15 or something like that, probably $15 now, I don't even know. When you're paying that much for a movie, you have to see the big ones, the ones that really matter. So these little films, I don't know how they survive.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I like Diablo Cody. I think she's all right. I don't have any issues with her writing and stuff, but I think she could have done better on this. I feel like there's a lot missing out of it. It could have been really something.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it needed a little more collaboration, a second person to come in and tighten up the script and make things make sense a little bit. And then maybe it would have been a much more interesting film overall. For right now, I'm just kind of baffled about what the movie actually meant. I really just don't think I even understand.
I think it gave out mixed messages. I mean,
really,
I'm a little baffled too.
We're so close to being talking trash right now. But yeah, let's just end it here and just say, hey, if you get a free ticket or if this comes to streaming, just give it a little look-see and see what you think. I personally would love to hear other people's thoughts. I think this movie's going to get trashed in the reviews of all the people I know online. But I'm looking forward to seeing it. So thanks for listening to us. We are on Instagram. I'm at Just Another Movie Night on Instagram, and Joe is at The Crafty Misfit. As always, we want to hear whatever anybody has to say. So tell us what you thought if you did see this thing, because I guarantee no one else is going to see it. All right, have a good one. Good night.
Really hope this goth phase ends soon.